Hello, I'm Ningamika Meti, Assistant Professor, Department of MBA, Sai Vidya Institute of Technology. Here am I talking about Unit 3, that is hiring process and decision. It is a part of recruitment and selection. So till now we learned about what is hiring, nature of hiring, characteristics of hiring, purpose of hiring. We learned a lot. In this class, we'll try to understand what is the process and decision works out. Okay, so in this picture, you can analyze like there are so many decisions should be taken as a marketing person, or it might be a hiring person who can take a decision. So many things you can see. It's a global and ups and downs, and their emails and the time and the projects and the also the money collections. All this matters when you're taking a hiring decision on the globe. So today we'll try to understand what exactly the meaning of hiring. So, our recruitment. So, recruitment is the process of finding, hiring the best and the most qualified candidate for a job opening. So, there will be a lot of people coming for an interview. Among them, you're choosing the best who is suitable for a particular profile. It might be a software engineer, it might be a general manager, it might be assistant manager, any of the platform. So, the person should be eligible enough, qualified enough to apply for that particular profile. It can also be defined as the recruitment is a process of searching for a prospective employees, suitable employees, eligible employees, and stimulating and encouraging them to apply for the job. So whatever the profile might be, if a person has a eligible quality, skill set and all, then we as a recruiter or a consultant person indirectly making them to apply for the job. That is called as recruitment. That is according to Edward B. Flippo. So factors influencing the recruitment, and this is also one of the important question asked in third sem MBA HR specialization R&S, that is recruitment and selection. So what are the factors influencing on recruitment? So there are two factors to be considered, that is external factor and internal factor. So external factors which doesn't have any control over it. So those factors are called external factors, as the title says. It's outside the organization, externally happening in the recruitment process, which impact on the process. The first one is political and legal, technological, socio-economic, supply and demand, labor market, organization image. So these are the external factors impact on the recruitment process. And coming to the internal factors which have a control over the inside the organization, internally inside the organization, as the title says. So it is consists of recruitment policy, size of a business unit, cost of acquisition, growth opportunities, working condition, effective human resource planning. So these are the factors which is indirectly or directly impacting on the recruitment process. So coming to the external factors. So what exactly the external factors talk about? An organization experience some external changes, some of the outside the organization, some changes impact on the decisions of the organization. It might be hiring, or it might be any of the objectives in any of the goals to be accomplished. So those factors are called as external factors which affects all business process irrespective of whatever it is. It might be controlling, it might be hiring, it might be planning, it might be staffing, any of the factor impacting on it. So those are called as external factor. Coming to this particular topic, the primary external factors affecting the recruitment process in the organization are as follows. That is, first one was political and legal factors. As the title only says, political and legal factors, these are the factors which is related to the government or government of India, which ensures the employability of scheduled caste tribes through the reservation system. So since it is political and legal, it is related to the government of India. Some reservations need to be kept for some specification of caste, which are under the like above like who are actually lesser in the caste type, that is SC, ST through the reservation system. The trade unions also come into action to restrict the organization recruitment process if the candidate does not fulfill its criteria. So if you are giving the suggestions that there should be a SC and ST through the reservation system as per the government, make sure those people have the criteria to get into the organization irrespective of their caste. but the eligibility criteria should match up, otherwise, unions might fight against the rules and laws. And the second point is technological. With the emergency of new technology, as the days goes on, now things are not the same. Keep varying from day to day. The technologies keep updating. Earlier, if you see 2 years before in India, we didn't have a concept called Google Meet, video conferencing, calls through calls, conducting the classes. It was very difficult, but the technology is making us to get used to the things and go accordingly and take a benefit of the situation. Similarly, with the emergency of new technology, the organization experienced the need for recruiting employees. As the technologies are keep updating, how will the present employee will be knowing about the updations? Right? That is what we discussed in the previous class. So updated and new talent employees are required in order to understand the technology and get used to the technological updations. So look out a candidate who are more skilled and tech friendly to understand the updations in the environment. So that is the second factor. Coming to the third one, socio-economic. So socio-economic it says about the society, society related and also greatly influenced by business ethics. So no child labors are allowed when you are making a recruitment process or recruitment decision. So the changes in economic conditions might impact on the recruitment process also, like the minimum wages should be given irrespective of whatever the situation might be. If you can see the present situation due to the COVID situation, they are not able to get the returns at all in the particular situation. How the organization should handle it, they should have a backup plan, otherwise things might go in a wrong direction. Minimum wages, recession, boom, etc. So sometimes lead to employee layoff or requirement of new employees also. So employee layoff due to uncontrollable situation, you are as an employer, you are making an employees to leave the organization. So they are not in a position to pay the salary. So how can you make them to work without a salary? That is a very biggest challenge. In that case, they can lay off. Or if the situation is controlled in another 7 8 months, there might be chances of recruiting a new employee. So those things need to be considered when you are making a hiring process decision. And the fourth one is supply and demand. So at times the organization require employees having a particular set of skills. Recruitment of such employees is affected by the demand and supply of such person in the labor market. So always says demand and supply are one almost go in hand, right? So it is again similar to the employees also. So need to be careful enough to understand the labor market and go accordingly. Next one is labor market. So the availability of labor in the area where the organization is located influence the recruitment criteria, right? So in case there is a surplus labor in the labor market, the organization will release the easy availability of human resources at a cheaper rate. So you can see many of the organizations like MNC company, why do they come? Why do they purchase the employees of India? Because our Indian employees are with a lesser labor cost and they do the work very efficiently. So need to concentrate where exactly the recruitment process is happening, whether there is a availability of labor or not. Is there any necessary to relocate the position? So all these need to be considered. This act as an external factor for a recruitment process. And the next one is organization image. Organization image always talk about the goodwill of the company. So this may attract or distract the prospective candidates. Every person like to work for the organization which holds a good reputation. So many people they know the big shot MNC companies like Oracle, Capgemini, PwC, JP Morgan and Chase, Accenture. So these are the big shot company. If they get placed, they'll be working better. That is what the mindset of any fresher or a newcomer to a market. In that case, the candidate should analyze what are the plus points, what are the minus points need to be considered. If the company is not given a proper name or it doesn't have any organization image, then few people may not accept the offer. In that case, it should be taken care such that they can prove that they are in a good position and make the candidates to go accordingly. So these are the external factors of recruitment process. So when we understand the external factors, next comes internal factors. So the changes taking place within the organization are called Controllable factors, also they are called as the internal factors. So these are massive impact on the all business processes inside the organization. It should be proper enough, then the business can run in a proper way. Mess is happening inside the organization only, and if you go search for a solution outside the organization, it will not work out. So recruitment or it might be any decision, make sure that there is a proper flow of work in the organization. If there is any difference of opinion, so set out inside the organization only, such that further decision can be made easily and fruitfully. So recruitment is also influenced by few of the internal factors. Like the first one is recruitment policy. So whatever the policy is laid down by the organization, it should be clearly clarified and justifiable, such that if an outcomer come and ask what is your policy all about, there should be a opinion to be shared in such a way that it is not impacting on the recruitment process. So some companies prefer internal recruitment of employees to appoint personnel who know the company in a better way. So they try to appoint a person who know the company in the better way. So for that, which is a good platform to analyze internal sourcing. So while others go for external recruitment to acquire new talent, but sometimes when you know about the policies and know about the training procedure and further development, internal is the best platform to hire. But when you're looking out for a fresher and all, it is best you go for a external recruitment. And the next one is size of business unit. So we also call as small BSUs, that is small business unit, requires less number of employees. Therefore, it involves short and simplified recruitment process. If you see the organization is small scale sector and they need only a small set number of employees to an organization. Therefore, it involves all short and simplified recruitment process so such that they don't have any problem. If the organization is big, they need to go for the bulk recruitment only. So that is the second factor, size of business unit. And the next one is cost of acquisition. So every organization has a fixed budget within which it need to function. So go for a recruitment to the cost incurred in hiring new employees. All this need to be analyzed. As just going back to the previous one, what they said, if it is small scale, the recruitment process will be less. If it is a big, larger scale industry, the recruitment happens in a bulk. So when you go for a bulk, the cost might be reduced. When it is in a shorter duration, some less employees, it might be depend upon the cost also. Therefore, recruiter have to optimize the cost through different means. Either they can recruit and employ internal sources. If there is any major skill set is required, then you can go look out from the external hiring process. So growth and expansion, at the time of business expansion, the organization need to hire more employees. So when there is a plan of growth and expansion, need to look out a person, what is their plan, what type of employees are they looking out, what number of headcount is required, need to be analyzed when they are doing the growth and expansion. Next one is working condition. So the organization which provide good working condition and take proper health and safety measure such that employee can work very efficiently with the more attention and more and growth of the organization. So work condition also matters. And the last one is effective human resource planning. So if you have a proper HRP, then only appropriate elaboration of the number of employees can work in a efficient way based on the skills and qualification they must possess. So these are the factors need to be considered for making the decision making process of the recruitment. And the next one. So now we learned about the hiring and recruitment. Major cases we hear recruitment and hiring all the same words only, but in few major differentiate. They do it. The hiring is different in recruitment. So what is the major difference? Hiring is the process of selection among applicants, including review of hiring criteria, job description, application of qualification from application, resume, interview notes, reference, and background check. So if there are 100 applicants have applied for a profile, then you as a recruiter will choose a person where his criteria is suitable for the present job opening. So what is the job description? What is the qualification all about? So based on the data collected, you will choose among 100 one person. So that is called as hiring. So it is also called as hiring the right employee for your business is important no matter what kind of work you are in. So having a quality employees will help our company run and grow. So when you have a quality employee, the work can be done easily. So This is all about the meaning of hiring. So now we understood the meaning of hiring. Let's understand nature of hiring. It is also called as different type of hiring and employees in an organization. So this is one of the important question asked in many of the question paper for 10 marks, and sometimes they ask any of the part for 7 marks or for a case study purpose also. So there are almost 9 types of employees can be hired. That is regular employee, temporary employee, full-time employee, part-time employee, casual employee, apprentice, training, contractual, profession, and outsourcing. So let us understand one after the other what is the importance of each category of hiring. The first one is regular employee. Regular employee means an individual who is directly employed and paid by the company. These people are actually recruited and the salary is directly paid by the organization or a company only, whose behalf the company withholds income tax from his or her compensation. So out of their salary, a part of it is deducted for the tax where the company will be paying, and they're eligible to pay the tax. Has regular full-time or a part-time employment with the company. These people might be full-time or a part-time, or they might be regular also based on the requirement of the job and based on the category of the job the employees possessed. So is considered and classified by the company as a regular employee. So these people are considered to be a regular employee. And the next one is temporary. So what is the temporary word says? An employment situation where an employee is expected to remain in a position only for a certain period of time. As the title only says temporary. For time being, he'll be working in an organization based on some project, based on some work, based on some profile. Keeping that into consideration, they will try to keep an employee in an organization for a shorter period of time. So temporary employees may have the opportunity to achieve permanent employee status after time period has lapsed. For example, if an employee has joined for an organization for 6 months of time, after 6 months of time he has done the best job, he has got some awards within the 6 months of time, he can be converted to be a permanent employee only when his time has been lapsed. That is, temporary workers can convert to be a achieve a permanent employee status only when the time is lapsed. So employment term may be based on the completing of project, availability of funding, circumstances, etc. So temporary employees do not have special legal nature. They are considered employees of the temporary help agency. So what are the job is into staffing firm, and the clients can be analyzed easily when they are doing the efficient job. Next one is full-time employee. A full-time employee has ongoing employment and works on average around 38 hours each week. The actual hours of work for an employee in a particular period. A person who is completing average of 38 hours in a week, then he is considered to be a full-time. So full-time employees are entitled to the following leave. Annual leave, they'll be getting personal, sick and career leaves, government or compensate leave, parental and long services. So these are the leaves they are eligible. They are also entitled to public holiday pay if the holiday falls on day they would usually work. So for example, if a working person is working in an organization, so in the month of August 15th is a holiday, but is a August 15th is a government holiday. So he'll be entitled to get the public holiday pay if he is a full-time employee. And the next one is part-time. So part-time employee works an average less than 38 hours. Fixed average of 38 hours, it is full-time. Less than for 38 hours, it is part-time. Usually works regular hours each week. He is entitled to the same benefits as a full-time employee, but on a pro rata basis, on the basis of what example work, what type of work he has completed, keeping that as a base, they'll keep getting the salary paid. And he is a permanent employee or a fixed term contract based on the type of employee. So workers are considered to be a part-time if they commonly work fewer than 30 or 35 hours per week. Next one, casual employee. So casual employee do not have regular work hours and are not guaranteed to get regular work. So they'll be doing the work based on the work allocated to him or the based on the time is given to him. There is no specification he should work from 3 to 4, 5 to 6. It is basically the time given to an employee to complete the job is considerable. So they are paid for the hours worked and receive a loading to compensate them for not receiving the same benefits as full or part-time workers. So a casual employee has no guarantee hours work, usually works irregular hours, and doesn't get a paid or sick or annual leave can end employment without any kind of notice. So those are called as casual employees. And the next one is probation. Employees can put their employees on probation period. So you can see in many organizations the person who has joined an organization as fresher. So they'll be kept it on probationary to see how the performance of the employee can be improvised, how he's doing the job, so how the role can be, whether the role is suitable for him or not. So to keep it in the consideration, they keep it for a probation period of minimum of 6 months, maximum of 1 year. So the employer decides on the length of the probation period. It can range from few weeks to few months at the start of the employment. So employers can put their employees on probation period to assess the employee suitable for the role or not. So whether the employer decide on the length of the probation period, that can range from few weeks to few months. And also if a hired full-time or a part-time basis an employee and probation is entitled to access their paid leave, entitled to get annual leave, sick leave. These people also get an all the benefits like a regular employee. Next one is apprentice or training. So apprenticeship and training are common nowadays than the full-time job. Now people are giving trainees. They'll see for 3 months, then they'll make them get recruited in an organization. So apprenticeship training is a course of training in any industry or establishing undergone in pursuance of a contract of apprenticeship between employer, apprentice, and under prescribed terms and conditions. So the terms and conditions consists of two components: basic training, on-the-job training. So the basic training is basically it is recruited for the people for freshers. So they might be getting to the organization for the experience of the job. So for them, they'll be giving a basic training, and these people are reasonable ability to handle instruments like machineries, equipment. If you see the IT people and all, especially the IITF, NTTF, who has done the education separately, they'll be getting this work and they train for on the job and they'll be getting recruited later the stages. And this might be sometime on the job training also based on the profile used. And the next one is contractual. As the title says, the contractual hiring is the term used for hiring a temporary manpower on the contract basis. So the contract period is basically fixed and the company has the direction of terminating. Only the company has an eligibility to terminate or continue the engagement after completion of the period. The people who are working in contractual basis in the later stage they can work as a permanent employee also based on the terms and norms laid on by the organization, and the payment will be on fixed terms with some provisions for increment. The contract here is not given statutory benefits. Instead, they are given a constructed. Last one, that is outsourcing, the practice of having a certain job functions done outside a company. So in many organizations you can see the housekeeping and also few people who come from the outside the organization work for an organization like a client location. Those people are called as outsourcing. Outsourcing has become a major trend in human resources because these people will be taking an initiative from the outside the organization to be a part of the organization where they'll be having a tie-up with the consultants and they'll be outsourcing the employee in order to get the benefit of the cost terms. First, make sure the company you're hiring can really do the job or not, and then you go further process. So these are the different types of nature of hiring. So thank you students. Thanks for watching my video. Have a very good day.